Hi, I'm Brado, and today I'm going to give a guide on how to get the trophy for Hardcore Risette fan in Persona 4 Golden. This is probably, if not the most notorious trophy in the whole game, just because of what you have to accomplish for it. Now, this trophy is not necessarily hard to get, but more so, it really is just a pain to get because of the crazy RNG Risette has to either say the same line over and over or not say anything at all. I was able to achieve this trophy in my first playthrough, and I'm going to go through how I was able to do it so that you can too. I was dreading doing this trophy, but I was actually able to get it done in a much shorter time than I'd originally thought. And I'll get right into that, but before I start, I'd like to debunk some quote-unquote misconceptions that I've been seeing thrown around. First of all, the progress of getting a line does not transfer from playthrough to playthrough. This means that in order to get the trophy, you must get 250 voice lines in that playthrough, and that they do not stack the lines between different playthroughs. Secondly, and this is kind of obvious, but it must be 250 unique lines in battle, and not just hearing the same lines over and over again, or include any lines while running around in the dungeon. I'm sure that was clear, but I just wanted to make sure for anyone who might be confused. And thirdly, there are certain lines Risette will say if you and your party are underleveled, and others if you are overleveled. Now there are some sites and guides that say if you are overleveled, you will have an impossible time trying to get this trophy, just because you are unable to get these lines. I want to point out that this is completely wrong, as I was pretty much a similar level to enemies throughout the whole game, and during the grind I was well overleveled and didn't run into this issue. So let's break this down step by step and get you that hardcore Risette fan trophy without losing your mind. Okay, so to actually get this done without going crazy over everything that needs to happen, all you need to do is track each line Risette says. Yes, I know that sounds horrible, but I promise there's an easy way to get it done. There's a very helpful fan-made spreadsheet full of lines that she could say. Now I know this sounds like hell and way too tedious at first glance, but hear me out when I say it's a total lifesaver. This spreadsheet has all 436 total lines, is able to tell you how to trigger each one, where exactly to go, has all the lines broken down for each character, and is able to keep track of every single line you hear. All you need to do is check it off. Being able to easily control F to search and find a line Risette said, mark it, and then go for another line is a process that will take time, but feels so good to finally have in the long run. It also keeps track of your total so you could see how many you have. There is a line Risette says for each ailment in the game for each character, and you can get these lines by looking for the right enemy. In the footage you're seeing now, I'm just using the protagonist and running around the bathhouse dungeon trying to run into the monopolizing Cupid enemy so that I can get the line Risette says when the protagonist is panicked. There's really no other plan except just waiting and hoping to get lucky. Now when you are grinding lines, you have to be fast. Risette is able to say lines one after another, and missing her saying one line is very annoying to deal with later. This is especially true in a full party, as she is able to say anything about any of them during any turn. Another big part of this that we can and should exploit is using the analyze option to get Risette to say lines. Make sure to use it over and over again, as most times than not, Risette will say a line you have already heard. So by continuously pressing analyze and pressing out of the menu, Risette has a chance to say a line you might need instead. This is something that you see me doing all the time because I know I have the desired ailment or whatever else I was going for, and I want Risette to talk about it, even though she just decided to say something else or just never speak again. And yes, this will happen way too often. For example, one of the last lines that got me this trophy was going through all the debuffs. I did this by going to the secret laboratory dungeon, going to floors 5 through 7, and only hitting the red shadows, which are guaranteed to have the mind dice enemy, and they have the move debilitate, which of course lowers all 3 stats, attack, defense, and evasion. Then, when they did it on the character I needed, I kept analyzing it until Risette said all 3 prompts about that character. In all, this trophy isn't a horrible one, but still one that is way more tedious than it ever needed to be. It's very easy to feel overwhelmed by it at first, but once you start going for it, it really just becomes a matter of when you'll finish it instead of wondering how the hell you're even going to get it done. I will say the best way in my opinion to get this trophy is to start keeping track of everything she says right when Risette becomes a navigator. It will save the headache of wondering if Risette said a line during a boss fight or not, and any other line before you actually started keeping track of them. Also, going back to before about being overleveled, this trophy is much easier if you are underleveled, just because then the battles will last longer, which gives Risette more time to speak naturally. Also, to give yourself an easier time, make sure to switch out your party members throughout your playthrough. This will just make getting easy lines more accessible, because each character has the same amount of lines Risette can say about them, and by doing this, you'll just already have the easy ones. For context, I played Golden on PS5 and got this trophy grind done in total about 6 hours. I also did it on the last day before the final boss, which is really stupid on my part because I couldn't stop at any point to recover from the day, and I just used the fox to heal myself every time. I do realize that this video turned into me talking about using a spreadsheet the whole time, and I do think it is annoying, but as someone who loves these games and getting all the trophies in them, I wanted to find the easiest way to go about this, and this was the best solution. There were so many things I read online saying that you had to go about this a completely different way, and there was no clear guide on how to go about it, so I wanted to make one for someone else who wants to go for it but feels so overwhelmed like I did at first. Another point I wanted to make was that when I was going for it, I counted about 2 times on the spreadsheet where the lines weren't exactly word for word. I would just guess this is because the creator says that they were writing down each line as they heard it and it's just human error. Still, this isn't a real problem with the amount of lines in total being well over the required 250, so you can always just make a note of it and then move on to the next line. Most of my grind, no joke, was just pressing L1 X circle over and over again because I was just waiting for her to say the one line I needed. It was pretty draining like any grind would be, but still, the progress you feel going through, checking everything off is really great. And with that, thank you for watching this video guide, and I really do hope it was helpful. Ask me any questions in the comments and I'll answer them as soon as I can. Thanks.